I can't imagine what he's going through. I can't imagine what Amber and the kids are going through, being separated.
Support at home for a Fort Worth doctor infected with Ebola while treating others in West Africa. Still in grave condition, he receives a gift that could save his life from one of the children he helped save. And he makes a heroic decision that could save another infected American.
Even in spite of his sickness, he's yet thinking of someone else.
The news leader, broadcasting for all North Texas. Fox 4 News starts now.
News reports tonight say Fort Worth Dr. Kent Brantley and fellow missionary Nancy Wright-Bull are being flown back to the United States from West Africa to get the best treatment. Good evening. I'm Clarice Tinsley.
Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes. Some reports say that plane took off just after 4 o'clock this afternoon. That's our time. Ebola patients Dr. Kent Brantley and Nancy Wright-Bull are in grave but stable condition. The White House said today the Centers for Disease Control was contracting with a private company to charter a private jet for the medevac operations of the 2 humanitarian aid workers. Now, there has been no word on a time of arrival here in the U.S. The CDC based in Atlanta says 1 Ebola patient is going to Emory University Hospital in Atlanta, but neither it nor the hospital would elaborate if that patient is Dr. Brantley or Wright-Bull. Some of Dr. Brantley's former colleagues from John Peter Smith Hospital in Fort Worth gathered at his old church tonight. Fox 4's Brandon Todd is there. Brandon.
Yeah, employees at JPS Hospital are keenly aware of all these developments, and the news is on in every break room, I'm told. And every time a story about Dr. Brantley or the Ebola virus comes on, everybody seems to freeze as they watch the news and try and keep up to date. So those medical staffers that worked with him there during his residency came to the church he attended, sat in these seats in this prayer garden, and drew strength from each other.
Father, God, we thank you.
With heads bowed, these friends and former co-workers of Dr. Kent Brantley pray for healing.
But we wanted to get together and just, you know, God says when 2 or more are gathered, he's there, and that's what we wanted to do.
Dr. Brantley attended Southside Church of Christ during his residency at JPS. These JPS hospital employees worked with him during that time.
Because even in spite of his sickness, he's yet thinking of someone else.
They find some comfort in the reports about Brantley being flown back to the U.S. to continue treatment, calling it answered prayer.
They have limited resources over there. I think everybody knows that. So to get him back here in the United States where he has, you know, pretty much everything that he would need, they could offer to him.
Above my enemies, round about me.
Marianne Randall wasn't surprised when she heard of Brantley's heroism. According to the charity group he works for, Samaritan's Purse, an experimental serum to fight the Ebola virus became available, but there was only 1 dose. Brantley declined the dose and instead told workers to give it to his colleague, Nancy Wright-Bull, an aid worker with Samaritan's Purse who is also suffering from Ebola.
That would be typical of him. It was not a shock, although it's like, oh, why did you do that? But I totally understand.
As his condition is listed as grave, Brantley received a unique gift. A 14-year-old boy who survived the virus wanted to help and gave the doctor 1 unit of his blood. Brantley's wife and kids returned to the U.S. shortly before he started showing signs of the disease. They released this statement. As people with a deep faith in Jesus, we sincerely thank the thousands of people worldwide who have lifted up Kent and this dreadful situation in prayer. We continue to lean on that faith and take great consolation in our God in these times. We continue to believe that God will deliver Kent from this deadly virus.
It's like a roller coaster of emotions, and we talk and laugh about him, and then we cry. Because I can't imagine what he's going through. I can't imagine what Amber and the kids are going through, being separated.
Certainly are a lot of questions involving Brantley being flown back to the U.S. I talked with a Samaritan's Purse spokesperson today, and they were very guarded with the information about his status, when he's being flown in, what kind of treatment he'll receive, or how any of that will work. They continue to say they are very interested in trying to protect the privacy of the family. Heather?
Brandon, a lot of questions, but also an awful lot of prayers for the doctor and also for Wright-Bull and the families as well.
Yeah, exactly. Even last night there were prayer services here. Friends of Dr. Kent Brantley using ribbons to show that they were praying for him. A church member brought yellow ribbons to last night's Bible study as a reminder to pray. And, you know, you talked to these folks out here today, as we did, and they said they are hoping that tonight's impromptu prayer service here in this garden will not be the last. Heather?
All right. Brandon Todd live for us tonight. Thank you. Now, because of the outbreak, the CDC has issued a travel warning. It's not only to protect the travelers, also to keep those clinics from becoming overburdened. It includes the West African countries of Guinea, Liberia, where the doctor is, and also Sierra Leone. Researchers in Galveston are trying to develop now a vaccine for the Ebola virus. They were recently awarded a $26 million grant from the National Institute of Health to work on a vaccine. Although a cure has not been found, researchers feel they are getting close.
The stage that we are now is actually challenging laboratory animals with the live Ebola virus to see if the vaccine works. And so far, it looks quite promising.
The deadly viral disease has infected more than 1,300 people in West Africa and killed more than 700, making it the largest outbreak in history.